Hey, Hans here from Request for Music, and back with a new video, number 5 on the DEX. And that's about DX7 import. And I have actually the DEXZ, which is a free DX7 um, sort of a clone. In its case, it's also not fully 100% clone, but it's close enough. And the nice part is you see the same kind of things. It also uses all those modulators and carrier stuff and that kind of thing. But the nice part is that you can actually import cartridges and stuff like that. So if I would go into this and I'm going into their basic set that they take, at least I'm looking actually, this is actually the first one. So if I take, for instance, this bass sound and I load that, so uh, oops, I don't even have to load this one, just close this and go for my number, my bass sound. So this is yeah, a DX7, an original DX7 sound, which uses all of the operator settings and the envelopes and the specific algorithm and that kind of stuff. So actually, I also use something like that in DEX. So on the top of DEX, you see here file, patch, import, and that kind of stuff. And actually, I really have to look at how my screen looks. Okay. Um, so let's go into this and let's go into my files. I'm actually looking into the same set. I do have my Yamaha original banks in here, so I take my ROM number 1A and I'll go into the bass sound and just click on that and import. So it's now imported that same sound. Let's take the reverb out and see how that sound if I take my level up. Oops. Wrong. I'll import it again. Take my level up. There's something wrong with my mouse at the moment. There is a difference in sound. That is because DEX is not a full 100% clone of how the DX7 operates. I still wanted to give you the option of importing sounds and then trying to create something out of that. It's close, but it can never be the same because I do have different settings. I do use velocity, I do use the fine in the same way, I do use the octaves in the same way, but I have a different keyboard scaling. I only have, you see that there's a knob for keyboard here, and if I press my shift key on that, I can actually go to my keyboard scale center, so I can actually set the center, and the level then sort of creates an angle around that center to take the volume back on one part. So it's trying to create a sound which is pretty close, and at least I've got something that sort of resembles the same sort of bass sound, but not everything is going to do that in a proper way. Of course, you see, I can go through all of those sounds. Let's take something like the guitar and import that, or take something else like take electric piano, for instance. Click. It was too loud, so it distorted. And of course, I have my reverb to bring it more into the modern times. So let's take this on. Just take the D2. Maybe slightly less mix. Let's take another one. Let's take the electric organ. Oops, first of all, need to import it, of course. Okay, so on the web there used to be a large set of all kinds of sounds, and if I go back into this, I can see that I have all of these sounds. So let's take, for instance, have a look in this DEXZ set, which is here, and there I've got all of these folders again. I know I've got here these Synpress FM sounds, for which I can take one of those. If I No, I wanted to take a higher one. Sorry. So look in here, and yeah, let's just take something and see how it operates. Let's dial it up a bit, because otherwise you don't even hear it. So maybe they're not even, yeah, they will not be exactly. I can hear a problem with this, because if you, and this has probably been converted incorrectly, if you take level 4 up, the last level for the reverb section, you can actually have a sound that just continues sounding. So if I take that up and press a note, this is going to stick there. That is good for modulators, because then you can have a sound which would resemble something like a harpsichord, where when you release a sound it gets back, stuff like that. But on carriers that is not a good thing to have. So now I changed it. So at least you have the option. There is a whole bunch of sounds available. Every set is again a set of 32 sounds. So yeah, let's take this one for instance and see how that sounds. Because that was St. Elmo's. Oh no, I was playing another tune anyway. So a whole bunch of sounds up, available. I'll give this set to everyone actually. So you have all these SYX imports. You can browse through all of the bank. You can convert a patch. There will be differences in sound, especially because there's frequency differences and sort of things like that. So DEX can import classic DX7 SysEx banks and translate them into the DEX engine, but due to architectural differences, some patches may sound slightly different, but the original character is, yeah, preserved as closely as possible. So I've also tried to have that keyboard scaling sort of the same, although DX7 has that different for the the right and left part, and I don't. I just dial it, yeah, lower or higher. So that's it. But anyway, you have the option of importing sounds in DEX from the large DX7 arsenal of sounds. So cheers. I'll see you back in a new one. Bye bye.